Good evening, people. It's blowing an absolute gale outside. If you're under 8 stone in weight, don't go out there because you'll get blown away like a feather. But this video is on the spot, off the cuff, spontaneous, whatever you want to call it. Didn't even think about doing it until 30 seconds ago. Tell a lie, I might have thought about it this morning and forgotten about it. But anyway, since my top 100 favourite films videos have started to go out, they went out, first one out on Monday, I thought let's just talk about some of my favourite films. It doesn't have to be my top 100, it'd be a film that I just like a lot. So I thought, could you turn it into a series? We'll see how it goes. But the first film, why not start off with your favourite film of all time, being Mary Poppins. This is a steelbook that I got years and years and years ago. I watched this film early this morning, and in the past, not so much now because I really don't bother with people if I don't have to, but in the past I've talked to people about films, and I say, people ask, what's your favourite film? And I say Mary Poppins. They go, really? I go, yeah. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. Why is it my favourite? It's a musical in which every single song I love. The closest song that I am closest to not loving is the one in the bank when Michael is almost being forced to give his tuppence to the bank and he says no, and then they sing a song about the bank. I'm not huge on it. I like it, but I'm not huge on it. Every other song is top notch. I think the Sherman Brothers wrote all the music for this film, and it's phenomenal. Even the score is phenomenal. I love it. From the opening scene when you see the rooftops of London and the music plays, and then we see Mary Poppins sitting on the cloud. It's phenomenal. So it's off to a great start. Plus the era it's set in, 1910, when things are looking up, whereas now things are looking down. It's a great era. I love the look of Cherry Tree Lane. It is a studio. I know it's a studio, but there's probably houses and streets in London that look similar to that in some rich part of London. So the look of the film, in every single scene, the chalk paintings, the bank, when you go into the bank and you see the row of tellers at the side, you don't get that anymore. You have a little narrow street, St Paul's Cathedral. It's a phenomenally beautiful film to look at. Then the cast, of course, Julie Andrews, I think her first film, or her first big role, perfect, practically perfect. That's cheesy as hell, I know it is, but she's wonderful. A voice stunning. Then you have David Tomlinson, Mr. Banks, and Glynis Johns as Mrs. Banks, very much into the suffragette movement. And you have a cook and that kind of stuff. And also, I've never known this before, but the nanny they have that leaves Katie Nana is Elsa Lanchester, the Bride of Frankenstein herself. I'd never noticed that, but I paused it and I looked at her. I studied her face. I thought, you are her. The two kids, Karen Dautrice and Michael Garber, who's no longer with us, they're fine. I'm sure you could put any two kids in there that they're not a deal breaker. Then you have Ed Wynn as Uncle Albert, and they sing and dance on the ceiling and have tea on the ceiling. It's from scene to scene to scene to scene. There is no in between that I think this is a bit dull. Let's move on to this scene. That's better. I love every single scene. Even when they sliding up the banister, they slide down the banister. It's just, my foot taps to every piece of music apart from the bank song. Bert Dick Van Dyke is phenomenal with the worst accent ever, but I did read that he was taught his Cockney accent by an Irishman, but it adds to his charm. They have history. You go into the chalk painting, they win the Grand National, they sing a song, save a fox, dance on the rooftops. All that scene is phenomenal. You've got Admiral Boom. It's just everything and every character, every transition is top notch. It's phenomenal, and I will never ever get sick of Mary Poppins. Hadn't seen it for a few years, watched it again, reminded me how good it was. Only problem I have with it, I'd love to see more. I know they're all sets, but I'd love to see more of when Jane and Michael run away from their father at the bank and they go down the alleyway and you see an old crone. They're going down to the docks, you see a dog. I want to see more of the docks. Mr. Banks goes into the park when he's walking to the bank to be defrocked, for lack of a better word. I want to see more of the park. I want to see more of the street. But it probably wasn't any more built. But a phenomenal film. I've read the first Mary Poppins book because I loved this so much. I didn't like the book. Mary Poppins is too harsh and cruel and mean. And we've all seen Saving Mr. Banks, where we see P.L. Travers and all the history with Disney. But either way, it's a beautiful film. I love it. I will always love it. And I can't see it moving from my number one favourite film, but I said about The Wizard of Oz many, many years ago. But just imagine seeing this in 1964, seeing them go to a chalk painting, and it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look awkward to me. It doesn't look as good as today, no, but it doesn't look off or awkward or out of focus or out of range or anything like that. It just looks cool. It looks good, and the voice cast for the animated people, they're great. Everything is top notch. For me, it's a 10 out of 10 film, and I absolutely love it. So that is Mary Poppins, my number one favourite film of all time. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch it because it's fun. Thank you, people. Cheers. And good night.